This is my best attempt at what I set up for my clients for post-closing smart plans for buyers. It's pretty simple. I do just want to say up front, it does take a lot of work up front to get this going. It's not, you're not going to even be able to take what I'm going to give you and just plug it in and go. You're going to have to make some changes that are specific to your business and how this plan can kind of reflect it. But what I've created is somewhere in between for you guys, somewhere between a 25 touch to a 36, 37 touch plan for a year of a post-closing. And so we're going to go through and actually create the basic part of this. And then I'm going to show you guys a few plans that I made as supplemental plans to add a few more touches over the year. So the basic one that we're going to create together is actually going to take care of 25 touches really easily, really simple touches. The additional ones that you can add in and are the ones that you really have to customize to your business model. Those pieces, those are a little bit more personalized for me. They're more put forward through like my personality. They're very connected to me. They're like, you'll see ones about beer. There's one, and so simple stuff like that but I think you guys can use the structure of what I'm going to show you to just take it and then make it your own. That's kind of my goal here. So at the end of this is being recorded, so you guys are going to be able to go back. I'll have this on YouTube as well. Make sure if you are on YouTube, hit subscribe. I have to point at it. Hopefully it'll show up in the video later. But hit subscribe. We're almost there to the 100 that we need. And then we can actually change the URL so it's not some ugly, like just digits and numbers. And so please subscribe out there to our YouTube page, but you guys will have access to that. I'm also going to create the smart plans that you're going to see today in a text form document so that you guys can actually take it and look at it. You can't just drop it into command, but you can at least have it open in your window while you're creating your own smart plan. You can copy things in that you like, paste it in there, and you'll see the whole flow of the plan just on a text document. So I'll get that out to you guys probably within the next couple of days. It does take the video a little bit longer to render, get on Facebook or get on YouTube, all that. But I should have it up either by the beginning of next week at the latest. For sure, you guys will have all this. So if you guys can give me the weekend, you should be ready to get going on your own smart plans by then. So with that, do you guys have any questions after the intro, or should we get started? All right. Sounds like we can get started. Okay. So the first step that we're going to do, like I said, we're actually going to be creating multiple smart plans, and we're actually going to be using even more than the ones that we're creating, because we're also going to use some defaulted smart plans. So one thing that you're going to want to do just up front before all this with smart plans, if this is kind of your first go, make sure that you add in a few of these. Specifically, the ones that I'm going to be using are the home anniversary, monthly neighborhood nurture, birthday, and then possibly the biweekly. It would depend on the client if I put them on this one. The plan that we're setting up, though, is going to use the monthly neighborhood nurture. And when I say add it to your library, you just have to click this button here that says add smart plan. And once you add the smart plan, it will show up then as an available. Now it'll be changed to something like birthday plan or my birthday. You will want to go in and edit some of these simple ones like the birthday plan. There's a message that sends out that's great, but it just says happy birthday in a text. No name, no nothing, just happy birthday. So you'll want to go in and edit those at this pencil so that you can customize it. And that's the plan that we're also going to be using for this follow-up plan. Because after you close, remember, this is meant to be a post-closing follow-up. So after you close, things like their birthday, well, that's on their ID. The home anniversary, you know that too. So the first two steps are going to be, well, task one is going to be add neighborhood. Task two is home anniversary. And I'll go through kind of why some of this is set up. So let's jump in and create a plan. So after you make sure you have those smart plans in your library, my smart plans, we're going to go to create. And we're going to call this the post. Well, I'm going to start mine with PC because I use a small code at the beginning of most of my smart plans to help me when I'm searching to put them onto a client. I just search the little code that I know I have in my head, PC for post-closing. And so this one is post-closing buyer. And I'm going to put it as the start. And it's the start because this is the first plan that's going to initiate the daisy chain of plans that are going to come that ends up being all these touches that I'm talking about of 25 touches. So we're going to call it the post-closing buyer start. Let's see. Actually, let's call it the launch plan. And then we'll hit apply. So the other thing that's happening off the screen that you guys don't see is I've already gone through and created this plan on paper, and which is what I do on all of my smart plans that I create. And here, I'll even pull it in. So it's something really simple. Can you guys see my notepad there?
Yes.
Okay, cool. But it's real simple. I have the name, what starts the plan off. So my goal here, since there's no trigger event, you do have to add these plans yourself. You have to go in there and manually add it to the contact. At one point, it's going to be, once it moves that opportunity into the close section, it's going to automatically trigger this plan. That's in the future. Right now, we have to manually put it in. And so I just put a little note on when I want to do that. I'm setting this plan up as if I'm setting them on it the day that they close. So it's important to think about, when are you starting your plan? Because day one, those tasks will be assigned on that day that you assign the plan to your client. So if I'm putting it on the closing date, my first task is going to be, hey, add that neighborhood and home anniversary the day that they close. Okay, and so I'm planning this out day 1, day 2, day 3, 4, and then you can see I skipped out to 7, 14, and 30. And so I went through and kind of just built a little skeleton of a plan. I didn't go into detail. You can see in parentheses, I count some touches just to kind of get an idea of what or where I'm at in the touches for the year. Okay. And so that's really what step 0 is before step 1, is to at least have an idea of how many times you want to contact them over the year. Right? It's hard to just start saying, I'm going to build a plan and go wherever. No, start with, I want to get 36 touches in 12 months. And that's where I started with this plan. That was my goal. And so I'm going to start with the basic stuff in this first plan. And so I'm going to build out what you guys just saw on the notepad. I'm going to build out actually in Command Now. So the first step was to add their neighborhood. And it's just a task. There's no way to have Command add a neighborhood for you. But there also is a good chance you've already done this for your client if you're using Command. But I want to create the task. And I'm just going to remind myself to add neighborhood for, and then I'm going to use the merge tag, contact first name, contact last name. And I'm also going to switch this to a non-touch because this is not a touch. So I want to set it so that it'll calculate the correct number of touches up here at the top of my screen when it's counting for the plan. And so this is a non-touch. I'm going to add the neighborhood, and this is a vital step because if you don't add a neighborhood, then when you put them on the neighborhood nurture plan, that plan won't work, which that's 12 of our touches coming for the next year. And so we want to make sure that works, which is why step 1, they close on the home, you know where they live now. Add that neighborhood as their primary neighborhood so that A, they can get these emails, and B, you know just that neighborhood's going to be sending out to them. You can even add more around it if you like, or additional neighborhoods. In the task description, you can put whatever you like. I personally just want to remind myself of, if I just see add neighborhood for, that's all it's going to say. And so I might just add a closed on home in 2020. And I would update this plan on a yearly basis, so I could update this year. Close on home in 2020. Let's see. Add neighbor, primary. Something real simple like that, just to like click my mind and make me remember, oh yeah, just go in there and add a neighborhood. You can set a due date. And on something like this, I might give it, adding a neighborhood, I'm only going to give myself that day. I want it to say that I'm late on it. If it took me longer than a day to add a neighborhood, then I'm being lazy. So I want it just a day. And that's task 1. You see second task, update home anniversary. So again, this is really important because we're going to run them on the home anniversary plan out of this smart plan. And if there's no home anniversary saved, then it won't run. And so that's why we set up the second task. And so here we just put in update home anniversary. 4. And you can put in the task description. Again, same thing. I'm not going to let myself go any more than a day. There's the first 2 tasks. Really simple. And now I would love to be able to just put everything down on the first day. But one thing that you guys are going to want to look into before you start your plans is this button here that's kind of hard to see. It says select an action to create the next step, but below that, there's tips and rules for SmartPlans. And when you click here, it opens up these how to plan smarter for your SmartPlans, which it gives you some of the rules like tasks, allows 2 tasks a day for a SmartPlan. Delays must be added between those steps. And so this is all we can do is just add 2 per day. And there's some more guidelines that we have to follow. 7 touches within 7 days is the max, 12 within 30, 15 total in a SmartPlan. And so there are some limitations, and just be aware of those, because if you do break one of the rules, it's just going to return an error for you. It's not, and it'll return an error when you're creating it, not when the plan is running. So that's nice. It'll let you know up front. That's not going to fly. And if you're like, what, why? If you don't understand the error you're getting, click right in here, read through the rules, and I'm sure you're just breaking one of those. And so,
why do they have it set up like that? I'm curious. I mean, like, I guess the 7 touches within 7 days is cool, but I mean, I guess I'm curious why KW is limiting our, our ability to do anything.
Yeah. Well, so part of it is, I can't remember the technical definite or the technical name, but like the same thing that says the do not call list, like all those rules. It's those rules that limit us in there because they don't want agents bombarding people. A lot of the rules are set around not being able to contact people too often, right? And then I think there's just some limitations in terms of our technology where, trying to set delays that might be less than a day, that I think is beyond where they're really ready to integrate. And it's just easier to set them at day levels right now because timing is really hard to set, and it's not 100% controlled by the agent when it's sending automatic things out. And so stuff like the tasks, I have no idea why I can only add 2 tasks to one. SmartPlans, it's the same reason, right? Because most SmartPlans have additional contacts and touches, so they don't want you to add 6 SmartPlans in a day, and then it sends out all the touches for each of those plans, and it's bombarding them, right? And so tasks is the only one I don't understand. The rest of them are all kind of just built around not letting agents try and find a loophole in a way to bombard clients or leads with too many touches.
Okay.
Good question, man. Thank you for asking that. All right. So the next thing that you guys saw, I just have day 1 set, and then now I have to set a delay so that I can get to day 2. So I'm just going to set a 1-day delay. And then I'm going to create my next task, which is to add their birthday. And again, I would have done this one on the first day if I could. But since we can only do 2, same thing. I'm just going to put add birthday. And just for time's sake, I'm going to go a little bit quicker on some of these, not go through all of this, so you guys can kind of get the gist of it. And so I'm going to add their birthday. But now I'm going to do one of my favorite things for this beginning plan. Oh, sorry, not yet. I want to put in a call too. So on the second day, I want to call my client just post-closing check-in for boop. And so I do want to call my clients just 2 days after. Again, this is my business I'm setting up for. Maybe you want to call them on the first day. Maybe you want to call them, mine is, I'm setting them up on the day of closing. So this is my call to them the next day to just check in. Did you get your keys? Did everything work? Anything different from when we were there yesterday? That kind of stuff. And so I'm going to put that call in there. And remember, it doesn't make an automatic call. This is a reminder for me. So one little tip that I would give you guys is put their phone number right in the task name, because you can put contact phone in there. And I say that because you can look at your home screen on command and you can just easily see your tasks, or just in the task pane, you can see all of the titles. You can't see the descriptions on that page. So I like to put their phone number in there so that I can just hit that page and dial all those numbers right down there and check them off as I go down. So that's something, again, that I prefer. Same thing for me. I want that done that day. I might give myself another day just in case it's a Friday or something like that, since a lot of my closings happen on Friday. If I put them on the plan, I'll give them a call Sunday or Monday. Let's do that on 2. So now pay attention to the day counts on these. So day 1, day 1, day 1, and then we're switched to day 2 after we delayed for a day. So now I've done my two steps that I want to add, and now I want to add a smart plan. So what this is doing is this smart plan is going to add them to another smart plan. And the first one we're going to do, since now that I've given you, well, my plan is given myself a few days, I'm going to put them on my home anniversary. And my home anniversary is 2 touches. It's going to remind you to send them a card, and it's going to remind you to it'll remind you to send them a card a week before. And then the day of the anniversary, it's going to remind you to call them. So there's 2 touches right there that our plan just started. 3 for the call. And so right now we're up to 3 touches. 3 touches. All right. And then I'm also going to add them at the same time to the My Neighborhood Nurture Smart Plan. All right, why isn't it showing up? Here we go. And so I'll put them on that plan next. Now that plan is for that neighborhood that we already assigned them to. It's going to send them an email every month where it's just going to tell them, here's how many homes are listed, here's the average price. If they click into it, it gives them this awesome page for the neighborhood with Yelp information, with school information, with all kinds of stuff. And so it's a really great email. And just another suggestion here, put yourself on this plan first. If you want, like once you create it, put yourself on it. Maybe put a spouse or a friend on it just to see if everything's going through like you expect it to. You know, if you have Twilio connected, this is going to be able to, that's what sends out all these text messages. So you need to make sure that's going. But if you don't have Twilio, you can still set everything up like I'm doing right now. Without Twilio, it just shows up as a task and says, text this person this message as a task if you don't have Twilio connected. So it still even works. Doesn't even stop the plan from working if you don't have Twilio connected, just switches it over to a task for you. All right, so now we've got day 2 done. Now we're gonna move on to day 3. So I have to set a delay again. So I click set delay, 1 day, and now I'm gonna add to another smart plan. And this one is gonna be the birthday plan. So you can either contact your client to get them on the plan, or you can just know that you have their ID since you just closed with them 4 weeks or 4 days ago, and pull their birthday off their ID, put it into command. We had that as a task already earlier.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I am doing this as you're doing it so that I learn. But the broken rules popped up and says smart plan can only have 1 linked smart plan start per day.
So thank you for letting me know that. What I'm going to do is that we just have to put a delay in between adding my home anniversary and my 1 month. So we're just going to split that up over a few days, and it won't be a big deal. So we have to put a delay there. I'm going to add another delay. You can see that shows up at the bottom. So I'm going to hit the up arrow to put it between these 2 smart plans.
Okay.
So bing. And then now we see, here, let me minimize some of these because it makes it so much easier to see what's going on when you can minimize them. We can see we set them, wait a day, home anniversary, wait a day, neighborhood nurture, wait a day, birthday plan, and then we're going to have to set another delay.
Okay.
So this one is, the beginning of this plan is kind of intensive because it is right after a closing for me. And so there's a few things I like to hit up for after closing. And the next one is review. So this one is, hey, love it if you could give me a review. here's the links. And, you know, something, whatever works for you, Zillow, Facebook, put the links right in the text message so they can hit it, smash the link, and then go in there, give you the review and hit send. And, you know, they're so important. You can even set up pages in Command, and I can help you set up testimonial capture pages that are really simple that you could drop that link right in here in that text message so they can go right in. One thing I'd also like to note, my plan is completely built with text messaging. Could you switch all my messages out and make them emails? Absolutely. Absolutely you could. You could mix in emails into this. Just for simplicity's sake, I'm keeping it all at text messages, but just know, you can mix and match messages, emails. Some of the plans we're putting them on actually send out really nice HTML emails. And so just know that I'm only setting up messages to go out personally with what I'm typing, but you can always do emails or switch these out or do both. Some agents will do a message and an email every single time of the same information, especially for new leads, if you don't know if the number is good or something like that. But closed clients, you know what they are, you know what their information is. So I would say, you know, this should work out. All right, let's see. So ask for a review. That's one of the steps that I want to put. And I'll give you guys a more full text description in here when I type that out for you guys. And then let's see. And here, so this is where I might send an email as well, where the review links, I can see people wanting to do it from their phone or their computer. And so I'm, you know, basic communication, I try and keep the text messages, but I also will put it in here. Maybe my text message will go out a day later and say, hey, did you get that email from the review links? If not, here you go. Here's the links right now. You know, so you could switch these around, put a delay in between and go from there. So again, just pay attention to what day you're on for the task. So we're on day 5. And now this is when the plan starts to expand a little bit. 5 days after closing, it's been about a week. So now we're gonna set a delay of another 7 days. And then after the 7th day, I'm gonna send them just a quick email. And that email is, you know, it can be whatever that you want it to be about. What I'm generally gonna send them is kind of the, you know, a new home buyer checklist, like making sure, you know, that they change their locks, making sure that they change, you know, their air filter and like stuff like that. I'm sure you guys are familiar with all kinds of lists like that you can find. And all I'm gonna do is just put it in here and then send them the link to new home blog post. It won't be titled that, but it'll be something a little bit more clever, but I'll send them something that's appropriate in this for my clients. Like right now, I think I would probably send them something around getting their home ready for the winter, since anybody who is gonna be on this plan probably will be closing in the next like 3 months. And so I think this is a perfect time to maybe put a winter link in here. Maybe you want something more general. Maybe you want something more specific. Again, tailor it to your business. All right, so we're gonna send that email and then we're gonna set another delay. And I think this next step that I put in here, I'm back and forth on doing it sooner or doing it later. So maybe you guys will have some feedback for me, because I'm waiting. So now we're on, let's see. So now that we have our delay put in, you can see we're on day 19. We're about 20 days from closing. And I knew I wanted to put in a message around asking for referrals. And I don't know, maybe you guys have an idea. Maybe you should do this sooner than 20 days after closing. Maybe you should do it later. Maybe you guys, you know, and where these things happen, it is all up to you. And I'm now that I hear myself say 20 days after closing, gosh, that seems forever. Maybe I should move this back a little bit. You know, and I can do that by just moving this message up before the delays, where it might go out, I can't go out this day because I'm already sending a message. So I might want to put it out on day 5, or excuse me, not day 5, I'd have to add another delay. But just for here, I'm gonna leave it at day 20, just to kind of leave that idea in your guys' head to like, this is a great way to ask for referrals in a clever way of people that are like, especially if they gave you a review, you might want to say, thanks for the review. anything like that. You know, I love to just pour into my clients once they've shown that they want to work with me. I want to keep working with them. Let's see. All right. So now we've asked for referrals, and now we're gonna pull the plan out a little bit further. Let's see. Set delay. And we're gonna bring this out another 2 weeks. Let's see, not quite 2 weeks. All right, and then we're gonna add a couple more smart plans at the very end of this. Oop, what am I getting an error for? Move. All right, so now we're here on day 30. So on the 30th day, I want to add them to my quarterly call plan. And I wanted to wait 30 days because you're going to get a task to call them. When it assigns the quarterly call plan, all it's doing is saying call them every 90 days. So, but day one, it's going to ask you to call them when this plan goes live, which is why I put it 30 days away from closing so that that first call can be your first call check-in when it says, hey, quarterly call. And then in 90 days, it's going to tell you, and that's forever. It'll just keep going. Every 90 days, it'll tell you to call this person now that you added them on. And I love that. And so there's 4 per year, 4 calls per year for you guys in the Smart Plan. We already have 12 from the monthly neighborhood nurture. And then I think just in this part of the plan, we're talking another 3 or 4 touches, just that initial getting started. Let's see. View link, I deleted the wrong one. Oh, I left back-to-back delays somewhere. So here's some of the issues that you deal with when you're making smart plans. Let's see, where are my back-to-back delays? I'm not seeing them. There they are. This and just, actually we're going to move this message down. So all I did was just switch it around so that it's going to send the review link email first, set a delay of a week, and then we'll send the same links in a text message. So I just switched that around. I think that works out a little bit better. Set my delays right. So now I'm at day 30. They're on the quarterly call. Then we're going to set another delay so that we can now add in the next layer that I wanted to add or talk to you guys about. So this plan right here, you could just stop here, right? And this is going to get you, so just here you're at 12 for the monthly emails, 4 for the calls, that's 16, plus another 2 for 16, 17, 8, so 18 for the birthday, 19, 20 for the anniversary, the home anniversary gift and call. So we're at 20, and then on top of that, we have, I think 4 or 5 more touches in this plan on top of that. So right there, that's our 25, 26 touch just from this plan. You could stop here and you could probably be happy. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys what I added the next layer of building a quarterly plan that then just falls into the next one and the next quarterly plan and the next one, and then falls back into the first one at the beginning. Because the hope is to kind of build each one that I could just enter somebody into any of those times, and that if they just fell into that revolution of every quarter, I'm going to try and offer value. So first, or one of the quarters is going to be events, asking for them. The next one is going to be like a gratitude. So about 6 months after, after they close, I'm going to send them beer because I like beer, or you could just send them a gift, but some kind of gratitude, some thank you. Part 3, I have not decided on what that quarter is going to be yet. And then part 4, about a month or so before their home, or before they've been in their home a year, that's when I'm going to start talking CMA, maybe start talking lenders. I might do lenders as the other one, or rates, have you guys check the rates, stuff like that. But let me show you what I'm talking about. So this last step that we're going to do is just to add another smart plan. But this one, and so remember I talked about those little codes that I use? So I knew I could pull up the 3 plans that I made, PC, because I coded them at the beginning with PC for these kind of searches to pull them up when it's not as easy to scroll through all those pages. So here we're gonna start with the events follow-up. That's the first one I wanna put my clients on after they close, is because all I'm doing is asking, hey, can I send you the invites to our events for this year? I love to appreciate my clients, and I would love for you guys to join us for this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump into that plan I already made so you guys can see what it looks like. Because these plans are not high touch, but they're long. They're 90 days. And that's the maximum length of your plans that you can make, is a 90-day plan. But if you make 4 of those for the year, well, that's each 90 days, that's your year covered. And you put 3 touches in each, that's 12 more, that's 12 more. And so boom, right there, that's our 36, 35, 36, 37 touch plan right through command that you can easily just, once you put them on the first plan, it'll just roll in. You don't actually have to assign them to any of these PC event, gratitude, or CMA plans. Each plan just daisy chains into the next one. So here, PC events follow-up, let's take a look at that one. So that's the one after my post-closing plan ends. The last thing it does is then start them on this plan. So after that 30 days, I think it's the 32nd day, I might set a bigger delay in between adding them to this plan, because remember, day 1 it gets added to this plan, this first text message gets sent. So you might want to add a delay before that plan before adds it to this one, because I'm just saying, hey, hope all is well. Every few months I host a small event to show appreciation for my past clients. Can I add you to the invite list? Something simple like that. I'm just trying to elicit a response as a touch to say, hey, great, look out for it in the mail when they respond. Then I'm going to create a task for myself to add them to a tag. This is key, because when I go to pull my invite list, I'm going to just pull a tag that I made that says March invites or March event or fall event or whatever event's coming up next, or events that I want to put them in. I'm going to make sure to tag them in that event. And so I set a task to make sure that they get an event tag, because that's going to become important later for me in the future when I want to send them an invite. Because when I pull that invite out, I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to mail this invite out in command, and command just has it. I can look up a tag, click everybody in that tag, boom, and it's going to mail them all out for me for 70, 60 cents first class, right? And so this is an important step to set you up for success in the future. Again, I'm going to give myself a couple of days to do it, especially if they haven't responded or if they're like, no, or something like that. I'm going to give myself a couple of days to get that tag in there, but after 3 days, it'll show up as overdue. The next one, I'm going to set a 21-day delay, right? 3 weeks. So it's just a quick message. They closed a month and a half ago at this point. It was about 6.5 weeks ago. And then I'm going to create another task for myself to add them to the actual invite list. This is more of a check for myself. Again, to just say, did I send the invite to whatever event's happening? Did I send them? Did it code? Did I get them on the list? Because maybe I had an event that happened or that's happening next week and they didn't get on the plan soon enough. And maybe I need to put them in there. That's what this task is about. And I might even add that reminder. Did they get added for soonest event? You know, these are where I put my reminders in to make sure that I'm communicating appropriately to my database, because it's great to see tasks show up. But if you're like, what am I calling this person about? I don't want to waste time thinking about it or letting myself look it up. I want to see it here. So put it in your description to give yourself all of that leverage. All right. So on this one, again, this is a non-touch because it's just a reminder for me to get them on that list, to make sure that when I do mail them out, or maybe I have to just invite them personally at that point where I'm like, shoot, events this weekend, they closed 2 weeks ago, they weren't on the right list. I'll just send them a message, right? It's just a way to send another safeguard into my business to help me keep track, because sometimes I'm dumb. All right, so then I'm gonna set another 8-day delay to get us to day 30. We're now 2 months out from the closing of their home. And then I'm just going to check in with them. Maybe you want to send a little bit more of a delay between those inviting them and then actually saying, hey, did you get the invite? You know, this one is, it just depends on how like locked down you have your systems around when events are happening. So this one, you might not want to say, did you get the invite for the event coming up? You might want to say something different, just another check-in that you can put in there. Again, I'm going to wait 30 more days. So a full month after that one, just a quick, hey, hey. And then the next one is, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you at our next event. It's going to set me up for the next event, right? Because hopefully this is now day 60. It's 3 months after they've closed. I most likely have probably done something or a Facebook or something in between, like a Facebook group, like, you know, virtual call at this point. Maybe I did something like that. Looking forward to seeing you at the next one. Is there anyone else you can think of that might want to join us for the next one? You know, now I'm asking for referrals again at the end of this plan. And you're going to see that's kind of the same 90-day cycle that I've done, where you add some tasks to set you up for the future. You send a few touches, a text maybe every month or so. And then you finish it off by making sure to ask for business on every one of these quarterly plans, right? With a message. Maybe it's an email, but that's how I want to build mine. So every one of these additional ones is really, this is where I get personal, where I can ask for business a little bit easier, because as you can see, the next one we're going to do, I wanted to add my last step with you guys. So now I'm going to put them on my favorite plan, my gratitude beer plan. Hopefully it saves. All right. And so let's take a look at that one real quick before we finish up. Let's see. Edit. Sorry it's taken so long. So here's the gratitude one, where in general it's gratitude. For me, it's beer, right? The first message that sends out with this one is, hey, and remember, we're now full like quarter, 4 months out from closing. So 4 or 5 months out. I think that's a great time to show gratitude at this point, right? I just wanted to check in, see how everything was going. Thank you for choosing me to use your agent, you know, whatever you want to say. But it's just that quick thank you, gratitude. And then I'm going to pop in this question. Also, what kind of beer do you like? I want to send you some as a thank you, right? I want to ask for a call to action, because I actually set up in my command, that you guys can do as well, custom fields where you can set up like a list, like a drop-down list, like I did, of beer styles, right? I have beer styles as things they like. You could do pie. You could do, you know, Keller Williams loves the pie days, and you can do a custom field of pumpkin, cherry, apple, none, you know, and something like that, where I have a custom field for beer. And so my task then that day is to add, or to make sure at the very least that they have a custom field filled out, so I know what kind of beer to get them. Because then after a 30-day pause, I'm going to send, oops. Oh, that's right. That's what I did. Sorry. I need to put a delay in here, but what I meant to do is it's going to send them that thank you message, have a pause, and then it will send them the message, or send myself the task to get their beer in there. And I need to add a task in there to actually send them the beer, right? I need to put in, let's see, create task. Let's see, send beer to contact first name, check contact beer field. And when you click their name up there, you will drop into the contact when it is a task. So let me just bring this up a little bit. Let's see. All right, one more.
How you send them beer?
How am I going to send it to them?
Yeah, how do you typically send people beer? Or like, do you drop it off, or?
Yeah, right now, well, pre-COVID, I drop it off, but after COVID happened, tons of laws loosened up a little bit around alcohol delivery in the Denver, Lakewood, but it's very specific to towns, right? And very specific to breweries that will and won't do it. And so mostly what I do is if I don't know what beer to get them, if I don't know them personally enough, I'll just go grab a beer from a brewery close to them and then just drop it off for them or bring it to their work or something like that. Just, it's I don't do a ton of volume, right? Like I don't work with
Right.
40
Right.
clients a year. I work with 10. And so I'm cool with going to send 10 people or try, because usually they're going to want to sit down and drink the beer with me, which I'm totally down for. So, it's usually just a home delivery or something like that.
Okay.
But you can get them delivered now. There's lots of beer since COVID, like the delivery game is opening up a bunch. And so you just have to check what counties they're in because Lakewood rules are different than Wheat Ridge, than Arvada, than Denver, than Edgewater, and where the breweries come from, it's a mess to figure out. All right.
Okay.
Let's see. And then, so just to kind of give you guys the gist of the plan, I'm then going to just follow up with them through a text message. What'd you think of the beer? Should I give it a try? And then I'm going to send them, let's see, my order's a little bit off right now. But then I'm going to wait another month after that and then invite them to a Facebook page, which doesn't exist right now, but it will in the future, of just a beer Facebook page, adding clients in. You could just even make it your real estate page, right? Your Facebook real estate page. You say, hey, come over here. I'm always pouring beer on this, or I'm always showing the different things that I do for my clients. I'd love to make sure that you're involved in this. I give a lot of value out there. Here's some of the things that are on there. Here's my Facebook page. Love for you to join. Just another opportunity for them where you're offering value, but also just trying to get them to engage with you just a little bit. And then on this one, the last step is going to be to add to the third phase of my smart plan, which again, I told you guys, I haven't figured that one out yet. I'm thinking maybe lender or maybe like a loan kind of phase, because I'm thinking, 7 months after closing, might be time to start talking about where interest rates are at. Maybe it's time to start talking about refinancing, or maybe it's time to start talking about, their next home. Don't know. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out what that third one was going to be. For now, I do know that the fourth plan will be a CMA follow-up, which is going to be, built just like this one, guys, where it's going to be a few tasks, a few touches, just, no more than 4 touches, no less than 2. Is kind of my rule on touches for these. And then I'm just trying to spread them out where I'm kind of communicating a touch every few weeks of a little bit of value. So it's not so awkward to just like reach out. It helps me to have a little bit of a theme in these where it's not just like trying to say like, hey, how's it going? Like, how are you? How's the home? For me, I like to have a little bit more of an excuse or value to give or something to talk about with them beyond just real estate. Because like I said, a lot of my business is just friends and family. And that's really all I move out to, or that's all I really market to. And so I try and make mine very personal. Just know that you guys can, again, make them adaptable to your business. That's the beauty of all of these, is that you can write whatever you want in these. You can be yourself. You don't have to follow any of the rules I said, except for the ones that are built in. You do have to follow those. But otherwise, guys, I really hope that this was helpful in seeing really the power where, yes, it takes a lot of work to set this up, but when you can really visualize and think about what you can do with the smart plan and kind of daisy chain them together, once I put somebody on that first PC plan, that first post-closing plan, they're really good for at least 26 touches for life every year, right? These secondary plans can run too, and they'll get these touches in, but I might change these every year, right? And it's as simple as just going in and editing them, and they'll continue to update when they get added onto those plans. And so, guys, we have about 8 more minutes. I'd love to open it up to questions. Of course, I would love to answer questions about smart plans, but if there's anything else on your mind, I'm open to answer those too.
So basically, just at the end of every plan, you just add them to the next plan. Just how to kind of string them all together.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you wanted to, and if you just don't add them to a plan, then it just stops. And some of the plans are unlimited. So monthly neighborhood nurture just runs every 30 days and repeats itself. And it just sends an email. and then runs a 29-day delay and then repeats and does that. And the same thing with the quarterly call with 90 days. So some of those will stay permanent for them, that they don't turn off. Birthday's the same, anniversary's the same. All those first ones that we set up that's why I said for life, they're good on 26 touches or 25. Well, actually, sorry, that'll be 20 touches. They're good on 20 touches for life, which is birthday, anniversary, 2 for each of those. So there's 4. And then 12, 16 for the, 16 for the monthly emails, and then 4 calls. And so you could even set them up if you wanted to add more to that. Instead of doing the monthly neighborhood nurture, you could do the bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks it sends them the neighborhood email. And then you're talking another 12 touches a year on top of all that if you wanted to.
Nice.
Yeah. Not too bad, right? And for out of the 36 that we really talked about, 20 of them, like I said, are you don't have to do any work on ever after this. It's automatic after that. The text message and stuff, you might have to tailor and get more specific and fix and figure out what works and doesn't. But, in the future, it's going to be a great opportunity. There's some more email templates coming out, guys, that we're going to be able to build into these. It's what I mean by email templates here. Let me show you real quick. When we look at email or add an email to a plan, we have this HTML option right here. And so when we click that, you don't actually write the email. You have to browse your templates. And so right now, KWRI has these 6 in here. So this is what the birthday one looks like. Puts all your information in at the top, drops in this birthday message. That's what's sending to them when you put them on the birthday plan. Same thing for home anniversary. We have these other 2, work with me, buyer and seller, which you can use in maybe some lead plans, but I wouldn't use for clients. And then this one I do use for clients and leads. Promote your app. Oops, let's preview it first. Again, just something real simple where it gives them a link to download your app, some info on it. I'll throw that into SmartPlans too as well. That's about the only HTML email I'll use, but they are expanding this. This is growing in commands. So definitely check it out because I think those updates will happen in like the July time, I'm hoping. So hopefully we'll see that where we can make some prettier emails than just like text-based ones like this.
Nice.